Welcome back. This week we're going to talk about our budget.
We're going to make a series of our budget videos, what we spent on each trip, so that you guys have an idea of what you would be spending if you went to these places. We were students during all of these trips because we just graduated in December. We saved enough money. You can do it, I promise. So for this video, we're going to talk about our study abroad. We went to Perth for 6 months. We did end up staying for a year, but that wasn't part of our budgeting, so we're only going to talk about the first 6 months and how much we spent doing that. If you're going to stay for another year, just double this amount or factor in how much more you would need for an extra certain amount of months.
So before we even left Canada, there were a couple of expenses that we had in regards to the study abroad. The first being the deposit to apply into the program, so that we were like, we're on board. They knew we were on board. We weren't gonna commit and then peace out later. So our deposit to apply was 150 Canadian dollars. All of this is in Canadian dollars, so it was 150. And then we had to apply for a letter of permission, which is basically when your advisor assesses what your classes on exchange will come back as at your home university, and that was $25.
We also paid $300 for healthcare before we left.
You have to. It's called overseas health. It is the overseas healthcare. OSHC. You have to do it in some countries. Some countries don't have it. Like there's certain countries that have agreements, like European countries and Australia, you would basically have free healthcare and you don't need that, but because we were coming from Canada, we did need to pay for that. So keep that in mind as well. And then we had to apply for a student visa and it was $571.
We got exact numbers up in here.
I was very exact writing all this down. I just wanted to know for my own peace of mind. I don't know why. And then we had our res bond that we had to do once we applied for res, and that was $865.12, but that was refunded at the end of the semester when we left because we're not crackheads and we didn't destroy the apartment we were living in, so not to fret, that came back to us.
If you've watched our other videos, you know that we went to New Zealand before we went to Australia, so for our flight to get there, we paid a little over $600 to fly to Auckland from Calgary, and then from Auckland to Perth, we paid about $530. So the flight ended up being a little bit over $1,000 to get there.
Once we got there, we only had our monthly expenses after that. So we initially were trying to budget $1,200 a month while we were in Perth because that adds up to $6,000, and we thought that was reasonable to spend within the semester, especially if we wanted to go traveling on top of that. So in total, we were aiming to save $10,000, but we knew $6,000 would just immediately go to living expenses within Perth.
We wanted the extra $4,000 because we were sure we wanted to travel. So while we were in Perth, we stayed on res and it was $820 a month in rent. If we budgeted that, we had about $400 to spend on monthly living necessities.
And it varied every month. When we go through it, you'll see like how the monthly expenses did change up a little bit, but it was essentially the same thing. $400 a month to live is a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
No. This is like super budget. I would recommend saving a little bit more than that because it's not worth the stress. If you have enough money to spend more a month for that, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, don't worry too much about spending money while you're on a study abroad because you're meant to enjoy it and have fun. So we're gonna say our monthly expenses from February to June, but keep in mind that in these it includes $820 a month in rent and then about $30 a month for our phone bills.
This is what Callie spent. I don't have my exact budget. I think I spent a little bit more than she did a month because I'm really bad at controlling myself. For the month of February, she spent $1,031.87.
And in February, we didn't even get there till the 19th, so that was literally for about a week, and that was just getting all of our house supplies and everything we needed for our rooms.
We wouldn't have to buy, again, like bed sheets, comforters, pillows, stuff like that.
The essentials. The living essentials.
Okay, in March, she spent $1,337.28.
Went up a little bit, a little over budget, but I forgave myself.
In March, I think we were going out a lot. We were meeting new people, going clubbing. In April, she spent $1,069.97.
Went back down because I was mad at myself for March, I think.
Okay, in May, she spent $1,209.63. That was on budget, pretty much.
Yeah, that was good. Good month for me, guys.
So June, we left halfway through, so she spent $956.50 because we were going traveling. So that is a whole other thing. She spent more than that in June for sure because we went to...
For sure more than that in June, but my study abroad living expenses was that. That's it. We had what we had to pay for before we left. We had our flights there, and then we had what our monthly expenses were, and then we just budgeted out an extra couple $1,000s on top for our trips because we did a trip up the west coast to Exmouth. It was a little road trip. We went to Bali. We spent $600 for 5 days in Bali, so it wasn't very expensive at all. And then we went to Melbourne for a couple days. So we did a couple of other things, but they were within budget, and we also had to cut out things that we wanted to do because we were like, okay, well, we're out of money. We have nothing.
Yeah. We're gonna list out the main things that we spent money on so that you guys know you can plan ahead. So obviously our biggest expense was rent.
To pay $820 a month when you're living with 5 other people,
Res is
crazy.
Very expensive. We were like thinking before we left to maybe try to find an actual place to stay and rent from a landlord, but it just ended up being easier on Res, and we met a lot of cool people through Res, so I don't really regret staying there, but it is expensive.
Rent, the phone bill, and then groceries. And phones outside of Canada are way cheaper, so like don't even worry about a phone bill. $30 a month.
Anywhere besides Canada. If you're coming to Canada on a study abroad, be ready to pay about $100 a month in a phone bill for 6 gigabytes of data.
For minimal. They're doing the least for us out here.
Also, when you're budgeting for a study abroad, don't think that you can only budget for rent and groceries and stuff like that. Budget for day trips, like going out with friends, going out for drinks, going clubbing. You do a lot of that, and it's really fun when you meet people and you are all going out together. So just budget that in. Like I would say like $150 a month minimum to do all of that stuff.
Most of the living expenses within wherever you're staying would be your daily living expenses anyway. Like your transportation on the train to get downtown to go to the club, your transport to go to the zoo. Like those are the things that you're spending money on the daily, and that's what you would be doing if you were living at home anyway. So don't fret.
At the end of the day, study abroads are not outrageously expensive. They feel like people try to make it out to seem that way. There are a lot of resources, like talk to a study abroad advisor about it. We got a couple scholarships for it. There is easy ways to pay for it, and it's not outrageous to pay for it. Your study abroad advisor, when you go meet with them, can tell you all of the basic expenses that you're going to need to pay before you go. That is our study abroad budget. We hope this was helpful. If you're planning on doing a study abroad, do it.
We encourage it.
Yes, we would recommend. And if you have any questions about it, you can comment down below and we'll answer them for sure.
Or DM us on Instagram. There's lots of channels of communication for us.
And we will answer you for sure.
So next time we're hoping to talk about our New Zealand budget and then also our Europe itinerary budget, just break it down because all of our trips have been quite different. So we're trying to give you guys the range you deserve. So thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe.
Turn on post notifications.
We'll see you next time. Have a good day.
Bye.